Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Look, if you've ever felt completely drained by someone else's bad mood, or if you found yourself staring wide awake at the ceiling at 2 a.m., desperately replaying some slightly awkward conversation from literally 5 years ago, well, you are exactly where you need to be right now. Today, we're building what I like to call an emotional fortress. We're going to break down a highly practical, really powerful framework drawn directly from our source material on how to stop taking things so personally, how to protect your precious mental energy, and how to finally build some lasting inner peace.
So tell me if this sounds familiar. What is wrong with me? Why did they treat me like that? Why on earth did they just ignore my message? These are the absolute universal sounds of the overthinking spiral. Honestly, we've all been there, right? Someone speaks kind of rudely to you, or acts a bit cold, or just leaves you on read, and boom, immediately our brains turn inward, attacking our own self-worth. We start carrying this heavy emotional weight, searching frantically for our own flaws. It's an exhausting, incredibly anxiety-inducing mental loop that so many of us just get trapped in. But today, we're going to learn exactly how to break it.
Okay, let's dive into this. Phase 1, the overthinking trap. The heavy cost of carrying unnecessary emotional pain.
Now, there is a really stark contrast between a weak mindset and a strong one. Think about it. A weak mindset reacts to every single opinion, every passing mood, and every negative comment floating around. If you operate this way, your peace depends entirely on how other people behave, right? If someone praises you, you feel amazing, but if someone criticizes you, you feel completely shattered. It literally makes you a prisoner to your environment. But a strong mindset? That's different. A strong mindset observes behavior without absorbing it. An emotionally mature person understands that not every single reaction is a personal attack against them. And honestly, making this subtle shift is the absolute foundation of true emotional stability.
Which brings us to phase 2. It's them, not you. Understanding the invisible baggage people carry. Look, human beings are complicated. Every single person around you is walking around carrying invisible struggles. We're talking about chronic stress and exhaustion, deep-seated fears, really profound personal insecurities, past disappointments, and unhealed emotional wounds. So, when a coworker snaps at you or speaks harshly, it's often not actually about you at all. It's about their terrible morning commute, or maybe a fight they just had with their spouse, or their own profound insecurities bubbling up. When someone is angry on the inside, they tend to speak harshly. When they feel insecure, they might criticize you constantly to feel better. Their rude comment or their cold shoulder, it's usually just a reflection of their own invisible struggles, not a reflection of your value as a human being. There's a quote that perfectly captures this. The way people treat you often says more about them than it says about you. Let that sink in for a second. When you truly, deeply internalize that, your entire perspective shifts. You just stop carrying around emotional burdens that were never truly yours to carry in the first place.
So practically speaking, not every silence is rejection, and not every bad mood is about you. We have this incredibly dangerous habit of constantly overthinking other people's behavior. We sit there and replay simple 5-second interactions for hours. But the reality, most people are simply way too busy dealing with their own complicated, messy life problems to be thinking about you nearly as much as you imagine they are. A delayed text message doesn't mean you're unlovable. It usually just means the other person is distracted, stressed, or literally just totally overwhelmed by their own day.
Moving right along to phase 3, rethinking, rejection, and criticism. Detaching your self-worth from outside opinions.
Zero. Absolutely zero. That is the exact amount of control you have over every opinion people hold about you. I know, it's a hard truth to swallow, but it's also incredibly liberating. The source material highlights that even the most respected, highly successful leaders, actors, and athletes in the world face constant judgment and negativity. If the most highly successful people on the planet cannot make everyone happy, why on earth do you expect yourself to receive universal approval? Trying to please everyone by hiding your true personality is completely exhausting, and it creates deep emotional weakness. You simply cannot control the fact that some people will misunderstand you or just dislike you, and that's okay.
And this brilliantly illustrates how we need to filter the opinions we do receive. Constructive criticism is feedback given respectfully that actually helps you grow and improve. You should absolutely listen to that stuff. Destructive criticism, on the other hand, that's negativity driven by the critic's own jealousy, fear, or personal unhappiness, and it's meant strictly to create emotional pain. People often attack what they secretly admire or fear. Your growth might just be exposing what they're avoiding dealing with in themselves. An emotionally mature person knows exactly how to separate useful, constructive feedback from someone else's toxic emotional projection. Okay, so what happens when we face outright rejection? Because we all will.
whether it's a job, a relationship, or just a missed opportunity. There's a way to process it like a absolute pro. First step, allow yourself to feel disappointed briefly. You aren't a robot. Emotions are a completely natural response. But then, step 2. Actively shift your focus to growth instead of emotional destruction. Don't let your mind spiral down into feeling useless. And finally, step 3. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? Rejection does not define your worth. In fact, so many successful people find that painful rejection actually redirected them toward way better opportunities and forced them into some much-needed personal growth.
And finally, we arrive at phase 4, protecting your inner peace, building your emotional boundaries. I want you to think of it this way. You may notice the rain, but you still protect yourself with an umbrella, right? Negativity exists literally everywhere. Some people just complain constantly, they spread rumors and gossip, and they drag a dark cloud of anger into every single room they enter. But just because it's raining negativity all around you doesn't mean you have to let it soak into your own mind. You can notice the negativity, observe it calmly, without allowing it to control you. You just got to remember to put up your emotional umbrella.
So the crucial point here is understanding the clear difference between empathy and emotional absorption. Empathy is understanding someone's pain without carrying their negativity into your own heart. Emotional absorption? That's carrying the anger, the stress, and the toxic energy of everyone around you as if it were your very own. Protecting your peace doesn't mean becoming cold, distant, or totally emotionless. Not at all. It means becoming wise. It means knowing that if someone comes at you with anger, their emotional state belongs to them. You do not have to absorb it like a sponge to be a genuinely kind and caring person.
Because our actions directly dictate our emotional results. If your driving need is to win every single argument, the inevitable result is massive mental exhaustion and a trapped ego. You're basically sacrificing your peace just to prove you are right all the time. If your action is waiting around for perfect apologies, well, the result is permanent emotional pain, because life rarely gives us those perfect, cinematic, tied-up-with-a-bow endings. But if you actively choose silence and distance from toxicity, your result is emotional freedom and strength. Not every insult deserves a response. Walking away from unnecessary drama is, without a doubt, the ultimate form of emotional power. Here is a really hard truth. You do not need closure from every situation in order to heal. We waste so much precious time and energy waiting for explanations or perfect apologies before we ever allow ourselves to just move on. Sometimes, people are going to leave without an explanation. Misunderstandings happen. True closure doesn't actually come from another person. True closure is simply your own internal decision to just stop carrying the pain and finally move forward.
Well, we have covered a whole lot of ground today, looking at how to build an unbreakable emotional fortress. Remember, your inner peace is your absolute most valuable asset, and it is entirely up to you to protect it. So I want to leave you with this one simple but powerful question. What will you choose to let go of today? Think about that heavy emotional baggage you've been carrying around that isn't even yours. Drop it. Observe the negativity out there, put up your umbrella, and step fully into your emotional freedom. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and thanks so much for joining me on this explainer.